everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am the Ink Northerner and this is a VR to Generation Pixel. Now, Generation Pixel put out a community challenge where you need to pick your golden year. That being a year where you then choose one album, one film, because I refuse to call it a movie as per usual, and one game. Now, I watched another YouTuber's response here and I was a bit reticent to put out mine because we chose the exact same year. The reasoning behind that is probably very similar, to a degree anyway. However, the choices that we've made are very different. So without that, then let's get into the year that I've chosen. So the year I've chosen is 1996. I was 13 in 1996, well 13 halfway through 1996, given my birthday is in June. And I'd like to say that I remember 1996 for the big events of the year. So Duke and Duchess of York got divorced, Charles and Di got divorced, Dolly the Sheep was born, created, however which way you want to put it, and the 1996 was also a massively tragic year because it was the year of the Dunboyne massacre. Now, I'm not going to go into that. There were a lot of good things to come out of it in terms of our gun control, but that it was just horrendous. I'd like to say I remember it for that, but the two biggest things that I remember 1996 for, or the things that stick with me for 1996, were 1996 was the year that my all-time favourite Rangers player joined Rangers. That was George Albertz. Albertz is known as the Hammer. He scored some screamers of free kicks, and the minute he started scoring those free kick screamers, or even not just free kicks but just screamers from like 30 yards out, I was then always trying to emulate that on the concrete school playground. Even when I broke my right arm and I was potted right up to the bicep, I would still try to play football to the point where I fell on and cracked all the plaster. The other thing that 1996 it sticks in my head for is the fact that Gazza scored that goal for England against Scotland at Euro 96. You all know the goal I'm talking about. For me, this is the greatest goal ever scored. I haven't seen what I would consider a better goal. I still had a love for international football at this point in time. I'm not a big international football fan now. Don't get me wrong, I'll watch it if it's on, but I much prefer my club football. Gazza is my all-time favourite England player. For me, there isn't a better player of his generation. I rate Gazza as highly as players like Maradona, Pele. I would even say that Gazza rates up there with Messi and Ronaldo. I just think Gazza was a phenomenal player, although he's still not my favourite Rangers player. Gazza was playing for Rangers at the time he scored this goal, and the one thing that sticks with me is the guy he scored it against. That was Colin Henry. Colin Henry at the time was playing for Blackburn Rovers, which is my local town team. Majority of my mates were Blackburn fans, with some United and Liverpool fans thrown in there, but mainly Blackburn. And it was great to take the piss, basically, that Gazza had done that to Colin Henry, a player playing in what people were claiming was a Farmers League, conveniently forgetting that Rangers helped form the Champions League 4 years earlier in 1992-93. And the Scottish League at the time had some amazing talent in it. But yeah, that's enough of me reminiscing. You're here to kind of find out what my choices are. So let's start with the film then. There were some amazing films in 1996. You had The Frighteners, which was Peter Jackson, Cable Guy starring Jim Carrey, From Dusk Till Dawn. Scream came out in 1996. Independence Day, I believe, was 1996. And I know I'm a self-confessed horror fan, and I could have gone for any one of the amazing horror films that came out in 1996. But the film that I have chosen, and I have to go with, is Happy Gilmore. Given I was 13 at the time, so I was a teen, some of the humour in that film just kind of hit home for me and just pulled on my humour strings, I guess. And even now, I still find Happy Gilmore to be an amazingly funny film. It's not just Adam Sandler's portrayal in that. You've got guys like Carl Weathers, who I always associated with action films such as Rocky or Predator. But the humorous side that he creates when he plays Chubbs in this is amazing. And then you not to forget the Happy's grandma, Shooter McGavin, the uncredited Ben Stiller. Happy Gilmore also had a cameo from Jaws himself, Richard Kiel. I'm not going to go into reviewing the film. Critics didn't like it, but I find it absolutely hilarious. Maybe it's just the juvenile side of me that I would have had in 1996, and probably the juvenile side I've still got in me now, which is why I still find it funny. But yeah, so that's the film. The one album, so there were a lot of big acts released highly regarded albums in 96. Tupac released, is it All Eyes on Me? About 6 months before he was shot and killed. Sepultura released Roots. Tool released Enema. Marilyn Manson released Antichrist Superstar. We were on Now 34 in 1996, and I think we're on 109 now. You also had massive debut albums. You got debut albums from Nickelback, enough said. Backstreet Boys came out in 96 with their debut album. Jay-Z debuted 96. Leanne Rimes. Fatboy Slim debuted 96. Ghostface Killah of Wu-Tang fame released his first solo album. Eminem as well also released his first studio album, Infinite. There was also a debut album from a Finnish band called Apocalyptica. The album they released was called Apocalyptica Plays Metallica with 4 cellos. Plays Metallica by 4 cellos, which is a phenomenal album, and leads me into the album that I am actually going to choose. The album that I've gone with is Lord by Metallica. I was slowly getting into a more heavier rock phase at the time. I dabbled with bands like Iron Maiden, but it was Metallica with their self-titled album, also known as the Black Album, that got me into a heavier sound. That had amazing songs like Sandman was on there for a start. I want to say The Unforgiven was on there, but I don't think it was. I can't remember off the top of my head the songs that are on that album now. That's rather embarrassing. But the album I'd gone for is Lord. I'm not here to talk about the Black Album. Don't get me wrong, I've still had other tastes. I still like some hip hop stuff, but my rock was mainly older classic stuff like Meatloaf and REO Speedwagon, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC. But listening to the Black Album early in my teen years, gave me a taste of rock and metal that I have now. Lord was a change of pace for Metallica. It had slower, more melodic vibes to it, but it still mixed in the heavier overtones. You had, let's see what songs were on Lord. So I think there was 4 singles released from Lord. You had Mama Said, Hero of the Day. My favourite song on the album, King Nothing, unfortunately was released in 1997. There's another song that came off of Lord, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was. Let me look. Should really remember this kind of stuff. I'm not going to look at what the Black Album had, but Until It Sleeps. So yeah, Until It Sleeps was is a really good sort of softer song. But yeah, but you know, it was that change of pace, and I really liked the Lord album. You know, some people didn't particularly like it. I think when you release an album as big as the Black Album was, you know, and you've got big hitting songs like Sandman, Nothing Else Matters was on the Black Album as well, and Wherever I May Roam, Sad But True as well, I think. But yeah, I'm not talking about the Black Album. So yeah, Lord would be my album from 1996. Now, the game I've chosen is a slight cheat because it didn't receive a PAL release until 1997. However, the game did release in 1996 in the US. November. The game I've chosen is Blood Omen Legacy of Kain. Now, there were some big hitters that I could have chosen from 1996. You had Super Mario 64, Resident Evil, Quake, Mario Kart 64, Crash Bandicoot and Tomb Raider. They were all released in 1996, but I have to choose Blood Omen. Blood Omen is the one game that or a series of games, if you include the Soul Reaver games, that I still maintain needs to be remastered or remade. I think it was a game that I stumbled on. It's not one that I went out of my way to do. I think at the time I had a chip PlayStation, and I was just getting copies from someone. Sony can sue me if they want. And I picked this up. Now, when I put it in, I wasn't knowing what to expect from it, and just the whole story gripped me. The tales of revenge, tales of war, as well as all the action that's in there. You know, as you battle to kill the insane sorcerers and restore the pillars of Nosgoth. And as I said, this is the one game that I will always put at the top of my list for a remaster. I wish they would remaster it in the same fashion, just with updated graphics. It's a phenomenal series, and it's a wasted series for me now because it's not. They're not doing anything with it. Square Enix, I think it is, that own it. So yeah, those are my choices. So we have my one film, Happy Gilmore, my one album, Lord by Metallica, and my one game, Blood Omen Legacy of Kain. And with that, all that's left for me to do is thank you for watching. I have been the Ink Northerner, and let me thank Generation Pixel for putting this out there as well, and I will catch you on the next one.